Straight and to the point, a bunch of tech dudes decided to take the Waymo app and push it to the absolute limit. And long story short, they ordered 50 of these at once in a dead-end street. Basically just to see what would happen. And it pretty much did exactly what they thought it would. So, first things first, some context. If you don't know who Waymo is this driverless taxi service that typically operates in very urban areas. At this point, kind of even feels like a social experiment. People slowly but surely being conditioned to get used to driverless vehicles, accepting the future of transportation, especially in cities.
As this technology is still learning how to interact with people, so aside from it being dangerous in the moment, it could also lead to problems further down the road.
But it is not immune to hysterical viral videos, including one of my personal favorites, a bunch of them getting stuck in a parking lot and they started honking at each other almost like they were frustrated.
Driverless Waymo cars has had multiple incidents where suddenly the vehicles become confused and start honking all at each other.
So I was like, where's that coming from? I looked down and I was like, I think it's coming from the Waymo cars.
So almost like having a human behavior when they can't move out of a spot. And I would say that most car enthusiasts are not a huge fan of autonomous vehicles. Maybe for getting to work and stuff like that in urban areas, but overall, it is a threat to the enthusiast market, I guess you could say, of people who love to drive. And Waymo is a part of that new wave for sure. On the record, I think GM Super Cruise is probably the best when it comes to overall experience. It cruises on the highway really well. There's a human element still involved. If you start to doze off, your seat will vibrate. I like it the most out of all of them. And during all the crazy stuff that was happening in California this year, unfortunately Waymo seemed to become victims many, many times. So, back in July, a software engineer known as Riley Waltz decided to organize this entire thing. And all of this seemed to be mostly out of curiosity to see just what would happen and pushing the limits of the Waymo infrastructure. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, Waltz previously made headlines for creating a viral map that tracked San Francisco's parking officers in real time before city officials shut it down. He also transformed a fake Google Maps listing into a real one-night steakhouse. So this is the kind of guy we're dealing with here. During the prank, nobody actually boarded the cars. And according to Riley, Waymo actually handled this extraordinarily well. The company temporarily disabled all orders basically within a 2-block radius, basically until the next morning once everything had passed. I'm actually pretty impressed that they kept it this contained. Look, the prank is silly and ridiculous and deemed the first ever Waymo DDoS. What's even more interesting to me is the reaction to this. Waltz bravely tweeted about this, that he took responsibility for the whole thing. Which to me, it's like, wouldn't you wait for like statute of limitations or something like that? But I guess people in San Francisco don't have as many consequences as other states. I don't know. In my opinion, there's probably some criminal charges associated with this kind of behavior. Someone will figure out how to use this to jam up traffic in targeted urban centers on election day, another user wrote. Others viewed it as a useful stress test. They were not vandalizing the vehicles, you know, like earlier this year. Waymo should be doing this kind of thing itself, which I understand, to push the limitations of their own product. The July prank fits neatly into Waltz's pattern of projects that blur the line between satire and systems analysis. This was back in July. I felt like I was in middle school, and when another car showed up, there were cheers. Maybe 3 or 4 real drivers all laughed and just drove around. But some of the tweetbacks are actually pretty interesting. If you guys had torched them all, this would have been in the history books as an early massacre in the long human-robot wars to come. This is the most SF thing I've ever seen. He posted it, now we're all gonna lose our Waymo accounts. I mean, honestly, that was definitely a possibility when you participated in this. This is exactly where my brain went. This reminds me of the movie Leave the World Behind, where a bunch of autonomous vehicles drive themselves into a traffic jam, essentially. Anyways, short and sweet, prank happens. I don't know what's gonna happen next, but my question to you is, have you ever used Waymo? And at the same time, what do you think about this prank? Do you think it should be criminally charged, or should you just let it go? Waymo handled it pretty well, and that's kind of the end of it. Let me know in the comment section below. And thanks for stopping by. That dude too. See you guys next time.